I'm Nolan.
And I'm Tabitha.
And welcome again to another The Reg Relationship Q&A. And so we're excited. Here's another opportunity for us to connect, for us to share, for us to talk. And it's done by us asking each other questions that kind of draw some things out about us. And hopefully it works for you as well.
So neither of us have looked at the questions other than printing them out. And they're folded up on little pieces of paper that you all can't see, but they're here.
All right.
And hopefully Nolan gets all the tricky questions.
I don't know.
Okay, so who's going first?
I'll go first. Since I'm predicted to get the tricky question. If you could pick another career, what would you want to do?
Well, I'm actually in the line of work that I want to be in healthcare. But if I could pick another career, it would be something along the lines of, I don't know, some kind of mentorship, something where I could help other people become better themselves.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So I do, I'm at the nursing home. So my optimal career would be helping people better themselves, whether I'm preaching, online ministry, stuff like that. That's my thing. Motivational speaking. Okay. All right.
So, okay. So this one is: how many close friends do you think a married person should have?
As many as the relationship will allow. Now, and the significance of that is it varies. For me, my best friend is my wife. Now, I know that sounds all whatever. I don't do good as far as friends and all of that. And the reason being is because I'm so close to my wife. Now, every relationship is not like that. Yeah. And so you got to be able to gauge between you and your spouse or your significant other as to what works for you. Yeah, I know for me, I can't really have a close friend because I give all of my energy to my wife. Well, somebody said, that's not fair. You should give it out to somebody else. That's not who I want to give it to. This is who I want to give it to.
Yeah. We all get to make choices as to who we want within our circle. And I'm the same way with Nolan. Nolan's my best friend. And I don't have a whole bunch of girlfriends outside of my relationship with him, but I do have friends, and they're very close to me in a sense that sometimes if we don't talk for months, we just pick right up where we left off. It's not, and nobody feels slighted, and it's not, I got to hang out with the girls every weekend, and we got to go shopping, because I do most of my shopping online, so I don't really need a shopping buddy for that. And so, it, like he said in the first place, it depends on the capacity that the relationship can hold, and making sure that each person is comfortable with those extensions of your relationship.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you can't have a BFF outside of your relationship, but you got to make sure that you're able to balance what you have at home as well as what you have in that relationship. And if you're able to do that, you can have as many best buddies that you want to have. Yeah. You just got to make sure you're taking care of home.
Right. Yeah.
All right. You asked that question.
I asked that question.
Oh, okay. So it's my turn. Let's see. Would you want to know if your mate had an affair? Hey, I'm glad she got this question. Okay. All right. Let's. This is a good one. Let's dig in.
Woo. I guess each person is different, and it depends on each relationship, how your relationship is built up. How our relationship is built up, would I want to know? I probably wouldn't want to know that information, because I'm hoping that if something like that ever had to happen between us, it wouldn't come to an extent where it would be something that we would have to, talk about.
This is going to be good.
I mean, everybody's different. Every female is different, and some people want to know. The reason why I say I don't want to know, because I don't know that I personally have the capacity to handle knowing that my mate shared with somebody else what he possibly shares with me. That would
In other
be-
words,
that would
you
be-
can't handle the truth.
basically.
Okay. All right. But
And it takes a real person to know what they can and cannot handle. I can remember a time years ago where I felt like if something like that happened, I wanted to know. Well, the truth of the matter is, women, when we find out stuff like that, it typically leads to a bitter breakup, or if we stay in the relationship, it ends to a level of unforgiveness that is just extremely overwhelming to the other person.
well said.
So you have to choose your, somebody said choose your battles wisely. Do you want to know that? I guess what I do want to know is if our relationship got to a point where there would be something outside of the relationship, I want to know before. I want to know that we're in trouble ahead of time.
And that's fair. That's fair.
I already know what Nolan would say.
No.
Nolan,
No, here's the thing. I think you said it very well. Number one, you have to ask yourself, can you handle the truth? But then two, it's one of those things, why would the person go outside of the relationship?
Right.
All right. And so let's put a pin right there. I want to go to something else. Just because
you're not sweating yet.
No. You can have an affair and not have a sexual relationship.
Oh wow!
You can have an emotional affair. This is that's my best friend. But you can find yourself gravitating to certain places that you are now sharing emotionally with that person, and it's the barrier between where you are and the sexual encounter is very, very thin. Yeah. So it should be clear that you can have an affair without having a sexual encounter, but it's almost a bet that if you have an emotional affair, at some point it's going to cross the line.
It's going, and also there's a difference in having an affair and a relationship, because you can have an affair or an incident with someone, but not actually have a relationship with them.
Okay, so then the question, I told you this is going to be a good one. So then the question is so I can have a quote unquote sexual encounter with someone and then not be labeled an affair?
Because it not be labeled a relationship.
Okay, but an affair is a relationship.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
yeah.
so then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I don't want to go too far. No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Because one time somebody told me years ago, a wise man told me one time, there was a rumor, and he said, one of the problems I have with the rumor is I slept with that person. I'm not having an affair with that person. I'm not having a relationship with that person. It's something that happened, but we're not in a relationship. We're not calling each other saying, what you doing? Hey, how's things going? And so, knowing, that there is a difference in that. So back to that question, hopefully we don't ever get to that point. But if something happens and we do get to that point, I want to know that we're in trouble before we get in trouble.
Okay, I'm not ready to let this go yet. You understand that? So, does that mean?
No, it does not mean that. I'm reading your mind. No, it does not mean that.
No. Okay, but here's the thing. It does not necessarily, and I'm going to get in trouble with this, doesn't mean that we are having problems if I choose some level of indiscretion. And here's the reason why I ask that. If I allow myself to drop my guard, to get caught up into some folly, it doesn't mean something was wrong at home. That means I chose to get distracted, pulled away, and caught up in some foolishness, whether it's temporary or whether it's an affair. That's what I'm saying.
Usually, if you allow yourself to get distracted or get off focus as to what's important to you, then there's trouble. There's already trouble.
Usually.
People
Gotcha.
that are focused on home, on their relationship, on being committed and being true, usually, and I put a pin there to say usually, because it can happen to anybody.
Right.
But usually do not allow themselves.
Right, because if you value the
distracted.
relationship, if you value the relationship, you put up barriers in your mind from going to such places. You
Right.
catch yourself in conversation.
Right.
You just don't even let yourself go there. Got it. But so the question, back to the question. So you said, in your mind, you want to know ahead of time before that happens.
Right.
However, what the question is, would you want to know? Would you want to know if your mate had an affair? Would I want to know? There again, it would be, can I handle the truth? It wouldn't even be a question, could I get past it? I feel as though I have the capacity to get past it. But because I'm a man, and I look for significance, I want to feel as though I matter. And so one of the faults that men have, and I'm using this generally speaking, is that we compare. Am I stronger than him? Do I look better than him? Am I better than him? And so
Women do that too.
Okay, so it's a characteristic that people have. So then, I'll go, and I'm not going to go graphic in this video, but, I'll start asking some questions. I could get past it. I have that capacity to go get past it, but I'm asking a lot of questions in my mind. And then it's a question of how long did I get past? Because now we start a whole interview because I wouldn't go to the, oh, you hurt me so bad. I would go to now the interview. Okay, so what made you go there? Did you trip, or was this an ongoing? So now I'm digging because I'm trying to figure out, and then I will eventually get to, in my interrogation interview, I eventually get to, what do I need to do to keep you from going there again? Because we're not looking to have, here it is, an open relationship.
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so let's make that real clear,
Absolutely
everybody.
not.
We're not talking about an open relationship.
Right.
We are talking about an indiscretion / well, actually, the question is about an affair.
Yeah.
The question is about an affair. So we're not talking affair, or we're not talking indiscretion that happens, that speaks to a deeper issue.
Right.
So do I want to know about it? It's a toss-up.
Yeah.
It's a toss-up.
Yeah, because you don't really know until you get to that impasse.
Absolutely.
If you have the capacity,
You are absolutely
to keep
right.
your relationship as solid as it is now, as it was before that. As you anticipate for the future, you don't know, and so because you don't know, I think it's safer to say that you really don't want to know if it happened. If it does happen, 9 times out of 10, you already know your relationship is in trouble.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Part B to the question. You have an affair. Mm-hmm. You have an indiscretion. Either one. Mm-hmm. Should you say anything? Or does that depend? I mean, if I'm in a relationship, I'm married to somebody who has their head in the sand. They are oblivious to the world. And so, and so in that situation, if they are oblivious to the world, then that information, relaying that information could blow them apart.
It could devastate them. It could.
It could blow them apart. But then at the same time, you did it one time. Okay, that's one time. But then you did it again.
But there
that
again,
shows you got a problem.
but there again lies the fact that if you get to that one time, there's already, my theory is that if you get to that one time, there's already some problems. And one, if you're saying, they got their head in the sand, that could be a big problem in a relationship where one is outgoing and one is playing the ostrich. You got to be careful in relationships like that. You need to have crucial conversations in your relationship.
That's good.
Hey, babe, I need you to get your head out the sand because we're in trouble here.
Now, that being said, again, we in trouble does not mean we're not doing well.
Right.
We're in trouble means,
Oh boy.
I'm sorry, I ain't talking about nobody, I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. Where that one eye is starting to wander. Okay? So that could be a problem as well.
Right.
And I need you to be strong enough so if I'm feeling that, I need to be able to come, babe, hey, look, let's see if we can throw a little bit of cayenne pepper, some cinnamon, some sugar, something in the relationship.
Right.
And me say that, and you not, well, who are you looking at? Should I be concerned? It's not about that. No. It's about, I don't want to go there. So I'm going to put up parameters.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And so as women, we have to be sensitive to those things. If your mate is coming and saying, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z. I want to go X, Y, and Z. Can we try X, Y, and Z? You have to be willing and open enough to listen to them, because usually that's kind of a warning sign that, okay. The attention span can get short sometime with the opposite sex. I'm just saying what I'm saying. And so if their attention span is getting short, then you got to become creative. You got to get your head out of the sand and become creative and make sure that within the relationship, there is enough going on that keeps them occupied and undistracted.
Well, that segues into something else.
Okay.
Because
we're going to be stuck on this question.
Here's
so
the
if you want to hear other questions, we probably won't get to them today.
We'll get to a couple of them. Here's the deal. If you choose to be bullhead and say, but I'm not changing, this is the way I am, well, then you have to deal with the consequence of that.
You're going to be in trouble.
Because every relationship has to evolve. Right. And time, what happens is in the beginning, things are new, things are fresh, and things are exciting. Yeah. Well, what happens when you've been with that person for a while? I'm not saying, you need to hang from the chandelier, but I am saying you got to be willing to adjust, adapt, and grow with the relationship, whether it's her with him or him with her. If you don't adjust, if you don't adapt, you run the risk of having. Now, if both of you are sitting on the sofa and you don't care about life, then I would say don't assume that your partner is like that, because they could be sitting on the sofa with you, but their mind could be a million miles away.
Yeah.
Okay, thousand.
I agree with that, and so with that, are we evolving in our relationship?
We are. I mean, we're good. We are good, and that's the thing about it. You should know when it's good. Now, if it's, you need to ask yourself some questions, like these questions we ask. And incidentally, if you're interested in getting some of these questions, let us know. We'll throw some questions at you that will help you. But being able to ask and answer these questions in honesty. Now, what we're doing, we're being transparent.
Right.
We're asking and answering these questions with you. Right. And so at the same time, we're finding out stuff about each other. Right.
Because we haven't rehearsed this. We haven't gone through these questions and asked each other ahead of time.
Man, if I had known that question was in here.
I promise you, if Nolan knew that question was in there, he would have made sure I took it out. If I knew that question was coming up for me to answer, I would have made sure we bypassed that question. So it's important in a relationship that you communicate, that you know where your mate is, the capacity. That's the buzzword.
That's the word.
Today.
That's the word.
Know the capacity of your relationship, because if you do not, you will end up in trouble. Now, ladies, please do not ask this question of your mate if you're already in trouble. Don't. If you're already in trouble, this is not the question to ask. There's some other questions you can ask, and if you want to know what they are, just reach out and inbox me, send us an email, what have you. But do not ask this question, because I promise you a fight will ensue if you ask this question and you're already in trouble.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Okay.
I think we can go to another question.
So let's pick another question. I know people will probably want more on that topic, because that's a big topic. And it's a big problem in relationships. I've seen many relationships break up over affairs, whether they're emotional affairs or physical affairs.
Right.
I've seen relationships break up because of that. And
Absolutely.
so we'll probably get back to this topic on another session at another time, but we're going to kind of lighten the flow here, and hopefully I'll pick out a nice question to kind of segue out of this session.
Let's see what you come up with.
Oh, Lord Jesus, please let it be something. Okay. All right. This is cool. This will be good. What is the biggest personality trait turnoff? What's the turnoff? What can you see the opposite sex do that would be like a big turnoff?
For a female, male or female?
30 feet?
Huh? No. Bully. Character trait.
Okay.
I mean, dirty nails, dirty feet, that's a hygiene issue. Which, anyway.
That can be a turnoff.
But someone who in a relationship is a bully or controlling or manipulative.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're playing games with me to get me what, I'm not going to give you this if you don't. Listen, I'm a grown man.
Right. We're wagering.
Right. If you want to, good. If you don't, fine. Hey, then we go back to the previous question. No, it's just, but the thing is this. To me, any person, whether it's the male or the female, that's a bully, that's controlling or manipulative, that's a turnoff.
Yeah. For me, the turnoff becomes the timidity. I want my man to be strong, and I want him to be confident and know who he is, and I never want to see him have to plead or pride and all of that. Pride. I mean, not pride, but pride. Just be strong. Always be strong. I want to be able to lean over and know when I lay in these arms that I'm safe.
And she does that for me, and it's amazing because as strong as she is, as degreed as she is, as accomplished as she is, she can go out into the world and be strong and mighty, but then come home and be just what I need her to be. You understand? So, yes, I got it. Okay.
Come on back, baby. Come on back.
When you are angry with your mate, do you do the silent treatment or do you want to talk it out? That's easy.
Typically for me, I want to talk it out, but there is a period of silence while I gather my thoughts, because I never want to lunge in and be, I don't want to be accusatory. I don't want to, hurl out accusations. I don't want to, throw fits and all kind of stuff. Those were things that I did when I was in my 20s and my teens and my 20s. But as as we progress, as we mature, we want, I want a more substantive argument. Yeah, right. Substantive. That's it.
There we go.
I want a more substantive debate, not an argument where we're not listening to each other, where we're not hearing. I want us to be able to, I want to be able to say what it is I'm feeling, and I want to be able to hear what it is he's feeling, because just as important as it is for me to say what I want to say, it's that important for me to hear what he has to say.
Okay, so what is the difference between an argument and a debate or discussion?
An argument, nobody's listening.
Okay, I like that.
Nobody's listening.
Point number one, in an argument, nobody's listening. Can I add a point number two?
Yeah.
Point number two, in an argument, there are attacks being made toward each other. Whenever you're having a discussion with your mate, your spouse, your significant other, whatever you want to call when you get to the point where you're attacking a person,
Yeah.
where you're demeaning a person, then you have crossed over into an argument.
Yeah.
And so state the facts without being demeaning, and I think you're able to do it. It's not silent treatment for us. It's that space.
Right.
It's not. It's knowing you need to have the crucial conversation, and I love that about her, because to me, I could walk around and never have an argument. It wouldn't bother me. But for her, what she does is she steps away, she waits, collects her thoughts, and then she comes back. Here's the intro. Should I be concerned? That's the intro.
Well.
And then she segues, she builds up, and it does not get into it. We have been blessed in the 7 years we have been married. We've only had 2 arguments. One was when we were dating, and one after the marriage, and that was very early in the marriage. We've been blessed to only have 2 arguments. That's because we've made a conscious decision not to argue. That doesn't mean we don't agree.
Right.
There are plenty of times where we didn't agree, and we've had discussions that could be regarded as debates.
Right.
However, we don't attack each other, and we listen to each other.
Right.
If you do those, you will find your relationship doing so much better.
Yeah.
Because you're on the same team.
Right. And one of the things that I've learned in life is that once I say something, I can't take that
Can't
back.
take it back.
And a lot of times I've had things said to me where I'll never forget those things that were said. Do I hold it as a grudge? Do I, disregard that person or whatever? No, absolutely not. I have a heart of forgiveness, but I cannot say, as a human being that, oh yeah, I forgot about that, because sometimes in life things happen and it reminds you, it triggers up something that happened in the past. And so, do you act on that or whatever? No, you don't. And I also want to add to what he was saying about the 2 points. In an argument, nobody wins.
Yeah.
You can never walk away. Just think about it. Think about it, and mostly ladies, think about it. And I'm not picking, on the ladies, but just think about it. That last argument, when you walked away, did you really feel like you won? Did you really feel like you got something accomplished?
I told him.
How do you say that in an argument? The fact that you ended up in an argument means that you both lost.
Both lost.
You both lost.
That's good.
And so, and one last thing I want to say before we end this segment. The other week, I went to Nolan. It was something that was on my mind that had been kind of bothering me. Mm-hmm. And so I went to him, and I felt safe to come to him and say, hey, man, X, Y, and Z. And he said, okay. And, so we go through conversations like that in a relationship, and you walk away, and sometimes we wonder, did he really hear me? Did she really hear me? And the only way you know that is if you see something that lets you know that they heard what you had to say. It's not something that you got to debate about. It wasn't a debate or a confrontation or anything. It was just something that I noticed. Mm-hmm. And I also noticed that he adjusted that. He heard what I had to say, and he was sensitive to what I had to say. And it wasn't an argument about it. It wasn't a debate. It wasn't a, well, why you come at me like that type thing. It wasn't like that. There was no need for him to be defensive about it.
That's the word.
Just address it. And, and if you don't agree with it, then it doesn't have to be an argument. Just state your, just let that person finish what they have to say, and then state your claim about it, and move forward. Don't hold on to stuff that leads into arguments. It's not worth it.
And the thing about that is when your significant other expresses a concern, you don't want to dismiss it. So well, I got to put a reminder in the phone or whatever, write it on a piece of paper, write it on my hand. You don't want to dismiss it. Even if you disagree with it, you don't want to dismiss it. You want to say, all right, I don't necessarily agree with that, but what can I do to make you feel more comfortable?
Right.
At the end of the day, you want to build the relationship. You want to enhance it. We're not in competition
Right.
with one another. We're on the same team. So arguments, nobody wins in arguments.
Right.
And to the degree that you have a disagreement, you understand, because we're on the same team, whatever decision is made has to be for us
Right.
and not for her or just for me.
Right.
And so if you do that, guess what? You are going to have a wonderful relationship. It doesn't mean you won't have challenges, but your relationship will be good because you realize, hey, we working together.
Right. Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it. You made
Man,
it. And
that
you didn't
was a
break
lot.
out in a massive sweat
But I
today.
am a little misty. Listen, we're always glad that you can stop by. You can join us. We're always trying to put some stuff out there that we feel as though it's going to enhance your relationship and make you feel better.
Right. Yeah.
And so anytime you have a question for us, do not hesitate. You can direct message us, instant message us. You can put comments out there. Please make the comments positive. If you have something super personal that you want to share, we're going to ask, don't put it in the comments. Instant message us, email us, either way. Do that. That way, you protect your relationship. You don't want to openly throw you don't want to secretly do it either. Throw your significant other under the bus. I'm here to tell you, this relationship enrichment group is designed to enrich you and your significant other and your relationship. I'm Nolan.
And I'm Tabitha.
And we'll see you on the next time. You have a great day.